Hello, everybody, dear guests and my esteemed teachers. So I once got sent to the principal's office in fourth grade because I turned my book report into a K-pop song. Now, in my defense, it was a very good song. It had rhythm, it rhymed, and I even wore my new skirt to deliver it. But the teacher looked at me like I just tried to sell mixed apps in the middle of his class. And that's when I learned that creativity isn't always a part of the school program. At least not the kind that doesn't fit neatly in the box labeled as Thursday 2:30 art class. Now, let's get into the big question. Should we teach creativity in schools? Now, the word teach seems kind of intense, right? Like we're going to force kids to wear berets and paint sad clowns while listening to jazz. But the thing is, we already impose a ton of things to kids in schools. For example, algebra imposed, cursive handwriting imposed, warming up dance in gym class unfortunately imposed. So why not teach creativity not as a punishment, but as a pathway? Not because every kid is growing up in a world that they need to be Picasso, but because they're growing up in a world where we need desperately good creative thinkers. Well, when I was little, I had something called vivid imagination by adults. It's really just a nice way of saying this kid is something. And I was always so eager and desperate to show my drawings off to anybody, and I mean anybody who stood still for more than 10 milliseconds, which included aliens eating cheeseburgers, tech companies run by I don't know, aliens, all of that stuff. But when I got to school, something changed. Creativity became optional. Or worse, it became a distraction. Suddenly, the goal wasn't to dream big. It was to fill out the right answers during a test and keep my desk very, very quiet doing so. And I get it. Structure is important. You can't have 25 kids finger painting during a fire drill, can you? But the thing is, it's actually scientifically proven that creativity boosts academic performance. It boosts resilience, makes understanding a ton easier, and also, most importantly, makes learning stick. So why don't we include creativity in every single subject that we have going on? How will we do that? For example, history. Let kids write diary entries as if they lived through the French Revolution, or mathematics. Let them build theme parks based on actual geometrical shapes, Legos and blocks, or, I don't know, science. Science is actually a very interesting subject in this case because you can actually make your own materials and experiment them. And even if half of them is Mentos and soda, it will still be a part of the creativity program that we're trying to impose on kids. Now let's zoom out for a second. What do all the big companies in the world have in common? Like Google, Pixar, Apple? They hire for creativity. Google has something called the 20% rule, where they encourage their employees to spend 20% of their time on passion projects. Even if that's not part of their job, they still encourage them to. And believe it or not, that is how Gmail was created. Now just think about what would happen if we give kids 20% of their time to spend on their passions. What would they have come up with? Or just take Finn's education system, which regularly ranks the best amongst the world. It has something called project-based learning, which is just a fancy way of saying kids get to create, not to just consume. But somehow, we still manage to only put kids in desks and give them papers. But Finland has something different. They make kids learn by doing, testing, failing, trying, and then succeeding. Because failing isn't an actual step. It's just the beginning. Creativity isn't elective. It is embedded. And I get it. Creativity is scary. It might just not reflect what you actually think of, or worse, people might not get idea, or you may fail. But that is exactly why it's so powerful. That's exactly what we need to teach kids. That they are free. That their voice matters. That they can look at a blank page and turn it into something real, into their reality. So, let us begin to create an actual improved world about creativity and teach kids that they all matter. Thank you so much.